Welcome back to Broken Bobby's Transformation. As you can see by the title and the thumbnail, the woodpile runs the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitations. Welcome back to Broken Bobby's Transformation page. In the late 80s, I became involved with drugs and would eventually become part of that lifestyle of trafficking, addiction, and violence. Over the next 20 years, I would be in and out of jail and prison. If you're thinking about trying something or you're dealing with addiction, your life don't need to go down the same path mine did. I hurt a lot of people, both physically and emotionally. These are my stories of how I transformed my life, and you can too. Let's get. All right, so if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe, hit that like button, drop a comment. This is a hot topic item, so definitely drop a comment. I want to hear what your opinion is. And hit that notification bell so that anytime I drop a new video or I go live, you will be notified and you can check it out when you're ready. Also, share the video. It really helps the channel to grow, and we have been growing. So shout out to you guys for that. I really appreciate it. So the woodpile. When I say the woodpile, I'm referring to all the white guys, okay? Not just the actual woodpile. You also have skinheads. You have, you know, and I'm speaking from my time. That's all I can speak of. I haven't been in the Department of Corrections in a long time. But woodpile, Nazi lowriders, Peni, skinheads, and any other groups that may or may not be in there. So let me start from the beginning. So I was watching some videos of some other content creators in the prison genre earlier, and apparently Dubs did a video yesterday reacting to a black guy that did time in the feds, and his take on things were that the blacks were afraid of the Mexicans, as he put it. So then today there was a whirlwind of reactions. Damian Porter did a reaction to it. Chill from 16 to Life did a reaction to it. And go check out their channels. You can see exactly what they had to say. But it got me to thinking, you know, the thing is, when you are in prison, or even in the county prison more so than the county jail, everybody thinks that their group is the alpha group. And to be honest with you, depending on where you are, you know, what joint you're in, you know, things change. There's variations. I don't think there's really one group that dominates. You know, there's different things about the different groups that make them more powerful or less powerful as far as that goes. As an example, like the Southsiders, like they all jump, and you know, they're about that knife play. That makes them a stronger unit, and they have numbers, to be quite honest. With the blacks, like, these guys are down to ride as well. Crips, Bloods, Kumis, like, they're not just gonna let people dictate their program. And if it's worthy of riding, they're gonna ride. You know, I never did time on a yard with Norteños, but they're small in numbers, kind of like the Woods are. You know, the white guys, basically. And so, you know, it seems like they go a little harder, from what I understand, than, you know, because out of necessity. The thing is, if you're in prison for a long time, you know, decades or whatever, that's your home. And even if you're not for a long time, like I said, I did 2 years. That was my home while I was there. And, you know, there's a lot of propaganda that goes around. You know, like Dubs had mentioned, you know, growing up as a Southsider, basically you knew you were predestined to go to prison. That was the goal. as a youngster running around in the streets. And then once you got to prison, you were going to go all out so that you could have your hood shine. Now, me being a white guy, I never claimed a hood. So, you know, but the thing is, I grew up in a Southside neighborhood in San Bernardino. So I already kind of had that feeling that I was predestined as well and that I was going to end up in the joint. And my objective when I got there was, you know, I wanted my name to be known in the streets. So like if I got out and, you know, somebody recognized me from being in the joint, they wouldn't have anything but good things to say about me. That, yeah, that fool's a rider and this and that and the other, right? So, but here's the thing. When I first went to reception, I remember my first time in prison and only time in prison. And in the dorm that I was in, there were, I want to say it was like a 200-man dorm. It was upstairs, downstairs at North Kern Delano. And, you know, there were like maybe 30 or 40 woods in that whole building. A building of 150 to 200, I would say. So, you know, we didn't have numbers by any means. But at the same time, you have to command respect. If you don't, then basically, you know, like as a white guy, as an example, if we don't command our respect and we let people treat us in ways that we don't want to be treated, then everybody's going to do that. Therefore, if a new white guy comes in and he's not commanding that respect, then basically he's going to be assaulted and removed. Because as a collective with the whites, you know, you're not going to make us look bad. And that's the bottom line with that. Somebody disrespects you and you don't do anything about it, you know, then basically we're going to give you that ultimate disrespect and get you off of our yard. So, but what I was saying with the first time in reception, there was another younger wood there, and we were having a white meeting, just kind of, there was a bunch of us that were new, and the shot caller wanted to kind of run down things to us, kind of designated some people as front line because there wasn't a lot of youngsters in that building, me being one of them. And one of the younger woods said, "Man, we're really outnumbered in here." And the shot caller, level 4 Larry, who I've referred to before, basically told him with the utmost confidence, the numbers don't matter. It takes at least 3 to 4 of them to equal one of us. And, you know, that's the stuff. Now, whether that's true or not, 3 to 4 to 1 is very good odds. And I don't care how tough you are or how tough you think you are. You know, when it gets to anything more than 3 to 1, I think is a waste. But 3 on 1, it's hard to overcome those odds. So I guess what I'm trying to say here is when you're doing time in prison, all the groups think they're the alpha groups. And ultimately, what it comes down to, in my humble opinion, is who's got the numbers. You know, and even if you don't have the numbers, you're still going to stand on all 10 on business, you know. If, you know, you feel you're being disrespected or played, then you're going to get off. And if the whole yard goes up, then so be it. That was the prison system I did time in. So, I guess that's what I'm trying to say. And the thing is it respect or is it fear? Is everybody in fear of everybody else? Or maybe in fear of what they may do? Because when you do a removal or something, all eyes are on you.
everybody, you know, this is not only the tryout for your team so they can see what you're capable of, but everyone else on the yard is seeing what you're capable of as well. So when I was in reception, you know, there were, you know, amongst the woodpile, people that have been around and stuff, they would always talk about Susanville and High Desert, which they're in close proximity to one another. They called Susanville the White House because there were a lot of woods up there. So a lot of people were hoping, I guess you would say, to land in Susanville or High Desert. Now, the thing about the woods, like, we're really good at making knives. You know, I haven't heard anybody dispute that we make better knives than anybody else as far as the groups go. Now, you know, your willingness to use it, which Dubs referred to in his video. The thing is, if you're on a yard, like I said, this is in my time. I know they're not really having the riots and the lockdowns now. But if you're on a yard and you can feel the tension and word is out that it's about to go down, you're going to use it. Or, I mean, you know, what are you going to do? Lay down and die? Like, I wouldn't, that's for sure. I mean, I'm not saying I wanted to run around stabbing guys, but at the same time, if it's a life or death type situation, better you than me, buddy. So I guess ultimately what I'm trying to say here is this. Whoever's got the numbers is who's going to have more juice, if you will, on the yard that you're on. You know, if you're outnumbering other groups 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 to 1, then obviously you hold the leverage. But that doesn't mean that anybody is punking anybody or disrespecting people, because even out, you know, I told the LA County Jail story where we were outnumbered 5 to 1. It didn't matter. You're not going to disrespect us. So whoever has the numbers basically is who's running things, if you will. And really, they're not running things. Everybody's got their own agenda, and everybody carries out their own agenda. If, you know, there's an issue that comes up, you know, it don't matter. It'll kick off. And that's the whole thing about prison. So, do the Woods run the California Department of Corrections? I don't know. What do you think? Drop a comment and let me know. Do the Southsiders run it? Do the blacks run it? Who runs it? Does anybody run it? Like, I think it's a bunch of dudes that screwed up at some point or another and are now doing time, and everybody's trying to make the best of it. And if, you know, saying that your group is the best or the strongest or the most dominant, and that helps you to do your time easier, so be it, you know. But ultimately, I would, you know, I think that, what does it matter who runs it? It's all a bunch of miserable people doing time and stabbing each other, basically, because somebody else told you to do that. I mean, sounds like a pretty screwed up situation to me. And when I was in there, it was a pretty screwed up situation. But you make the best of it. So ultimately, if you don't break the law and you don't end up in prison, then you won't have to worry about none of this stuff. You know, it's all about sobriety. It's all about living our best lives out here. Because ultimately, the coolest, toughest guy in there would swap with any of us in a heartbeat. You know, nobody wants to be in prison. I don't care what anybody says. You know, once you get the taste of that and you see what it's really like, you know, a lot of people change their ways. A lot of people get stuck in the recidivism and going in and out over, issues with drugs or whatever. But, nowadays a lot of people are figuring some things out, especially the lifers that got a second chance. Shout out to all the lifers. And like I said, go check out Dub's channel. You can see that video. I dropped that a day or two ago. Chill's reaction on 16 to Life, and Damian Porter, I think it's called The Inside Story, his reaction as well. It's all about sobriety. If we're practicing sobriety, that don't mean you can't go to prison anyways, but it really helps your odds of staying out. Let's just say that. So hope everybody is having a great week. I'm going to be working on another video, maybe tomorrow or the next day, that was requested by Monk. What's up, Monk? Shout out to you, buddy. On prison food. I was going to do that today, but after watching those other videos, I had a change of plans. So be on the lookout for that as well. Just build that foundation, guys. Keep good people around you that are doing good things, and you will do good things as well. If you're thinking about coming into sobriety, it's a great day to get started. I believe in you. You can do it. If I could do it, anybody can. Just got to put that foot forward and start on that journey. Anyways, it's family, fitness, and freedom are the things that allow me to get my life together, and they can help you as well. And don't look at the mountain. Just start climbing.